Hey guys, welcome to In the Mix. I'm Brianna Hansen. This is our October installment, joined today by JulieAnne Cross from Delaware Food Battles. All around mover and shaker downtown, though. To give you one title is not enough.
And decades of this.
Decades.
Decades of being a cheerleader, I like to say.
I like that. It's good.
Yay.
Wilmington cheerleader extraordinaire. To quickly go down the line, joining us today we have Jabaar Brown with Chocolate Nation Comics. Comics? Okay. Didn't want to mess that up. Sarah Lester with WestSide Grows. Tony Cappella, he is an independent musician and also on the board for Shine a Light.
Yep.
And the wonderful Jerry DuPhily, TSN Media, out and about. Absolute phenomenal man involved in so many events throughout the year.
He's the OG cheerleader for Wilmington.
He really is.
Yeah, the original, the oldest.
Pass the torch along to JulieAnne.
The original gangster.
So you've got a lot of great things to talk about today, but I like starting with right next to me. What do you, in all of your many hats, what do you've got going on in October?
You know, I'm really happy right now because I'm on a break. I'm still doing lots and lots of things, but all of my most intense things have happened in the last 6 months. But I know you talked about Delaware Shakespeare in the last episode of the show, but we have Shakespeare and Poe coming up in 4 different locations. We have Romeo and Juliet coming up, and it culminates in November at the JCC, but that does start in the middle of October.
That's your community program that travels?
It is.
Okay.
It's we take it to 18 venues for free, and then we have 2 ticketed performances in Wilmington. But literally, I'm cooking up some other Delaware Food Battles events because Burger Battle has been going for 8 years. Grilled Cheese Battle had its 2nd year. I brought both of those inside city limits, and Burger Battle sold out for the first time ever. So I really want to add a 3rd event in the year just to keep people engaged year round. I want to do something in the winter. Comfort food.
Can we do meatballs or brajol or something like that?
Oh, that sounds amazing. There's a meatball. I do a lot of statewide work too. There's a meatball con downstate as well. I love all of these things. So that's kind of what's going on.
I might have to blame the Grilled Cheese Battle for putting me into like a gallbladder attack.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
It was shortly thereafter that I ended up with a few hospital visits, and I was like, I really gotta cut down on my cheese intake. But it was amazing.
I'm glad that you
I enjoyed
liked it.
every second of it, and I don't know if this probably makes me a very terrible mother, but my daughter had just gotten out of the hospital with pneumonia.
Oh.
She was doing well. Like the last 24 hours in there, she was like, let me out. And I took her right to the Grilled Cheese Battle.
She looked great. She was having a great time at the Grilled Cheese Battle.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you for that great experience.
And it's DJ party season. You know, my husband DJs, so we've got merch and bar stuff coming up on the 12th and 28th, right across the street from an event that Jerry and Tony are going to be doing. So I love the idea that 5th and Market is going to be hopping on the 28th.
Yeah, man.
Excited.
Yeah.
28th? 26th.
26th.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about, there's a lot, obviously. It's October. There's a lot of Halloween stuff going on. Tell us a little bit more about the Shakespeare Poe event that you guys do.
So that is in 4 locations. We've got 3 in Newcastle County, the Old Town Hall, and it's the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. The 13th is in Dover. I believe the 12th is in Odessa. Old Town, I actually don't know which date is which. Old Town Hall in Wilmington, and of course I can't pull the other one up out of memory. But
we'll throw it in at the bottom somewhere
they
here.
sell out every year. The Dover one is usually the last one to sell out, and that's on a Sunday afternoon. I actually drive down for that one usually because the schedule's so busy. You know, one's personal social calendar is very busy this time of year, so Sundays in Dover, I'm not mad. Yeah, and it's not a play; it's reading. Yeah. So there are 4 actors just reading, and it's Shakespeare, Poe, and Fiends. So we bring in other Gothic literature, oftentimes American. There are 2 female writers that we're incorporating into the itinerary this year. But listen, you're getting Annabelle Lee, you're getting The Raven, you're getting something from The Tempest. So
you're getting the creepy stuff you expect.
Creepy, and it's if you've got a kid like that, it's kid friendly. I always brought my kid. Yeah, it's not like we don't have any jump scares or anything. It's still Shakespearean in nature.
Yeah. And it does. It sells out every year. So if you're watching this right now and you want it, go get tickets right now. Where can they buy tickets?
DelShakes.org.
You can also, of course, check out nwilmde.com. We'll link you right there. I'm going to move on down the line. I'm lazy today. I'm going to go in order. Jabaar. You have been rocking the underground independent comic book scene. Yeah. If you didn't know, yes, there is an independent underground comic book scene, and it's actually really hot around this art. Yeah. I'm just going to throw it to you to tell us a little bit more about that scene and the event that you're here to talk about today.
I started on Art Loops with my friend Jenny Barton.
We miss you, Jenny.
Yes, yeah. That's my little baby. That's my sister. You know what I mean? And it's like she's seen all my storyboards, and like she was like, "What's all this stuff?" I was like, "That's stuff when I was homeless. I just never put any words to it." And she was like, "Put this on an art loop." And I was like, "No." And she framed my stuff, and then she was like, "This is what you're gonna put on the art loop. I'm gonna find a place to put on an art loop." I didn't really dig it like that. And then she was like, "You're gonna love it." And then I seen my stuff hanging up, and I seen people drinking champagne, looking at storyboards of like I did under a bridge. You know what I mean? You know, and I'm talking to my niece and telling her like,
cool.
"This
That's
storyboard
awesome.
is this storyboard is that," and you know, and it was just something different. And then when it came down to it later on, I was like, kids don't have any comic book. They can't go into comic book stores because there's none in Wilmington. So I put on a Comic-Con on like 7 years ago, and it was like the first Comic-Con in Delaware. We had free comic book day, but we never had a Comic-Con. So I was like, "Jenny, can I put a Comic-Con on in an art loop?" And she was like, "Yeah, where are you gonna do it at?" I went everywhere, and the YMCA's, Boys and Girls Clubs, and we got it on the riverfront. Like I told my wife and her to walk in, and then they, I don't know, and somehow the way they pitched it, and next thing you know, I'm walking in and setting up, and they're like, "Who are you guys?" We're like, "This is our Comic-Con," and then they were like, "What?" And then it just all started vibing together.
It's been really cool to see how it's grown throughout the years.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing the Comic-Con for like seven years, but my friend Michael Cowback, he helped me out learn how to teach kids. I was in school at the time, and I just couldn't find my way. Yeah. I couldn't find. I was older than half of my teachers, and he helped me out. He was like, "Come to Vision Factory. I got some kids, and I got some homeless I want you to talk to." So I went there, and I started writing, and I started going back and reading because I needed to go back and refresh myself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I started doing that. So by the time I was reading and writing, Mike told me to go talk to this guy named Michael East, and he had students for me. For the first time, I was actually teaching students, and I've been doing it for like 12 years, and it's like now I write, I draw, I color, we cut the books. I've worked with Trayvon Martin's father. I've worked with Ty Mack from Bruce Leroy, all the way to Michael Jai White. Right now, we're ready to do a book about Rip Van Cleef from the Wu-Tang Clan, the first black member ever. Right now, so we're going to do that book. We're doing a Shaka Zulu book. Right now, my friend is just getting back from Tulsa. We're doing a Black Wall Street caption novel book.
How cool!
So people will understand like what would happen if it wasn't burned down and stuff like that. And we'll give it to kids in a whole different cycle. And we have a rapper from like Brand Nubian, Sadat X. He's going to be on it. And we got Vince Shakur, Tupac's other nephew. He's going to be on it. So we're just trying to do something different. We're trying to bring something different to Delaware.
Nice.
You don't have to be on 7th and Washington or 5th and Madison.
Do you have some right there?
Yeah, so we have stuff from like Trayvon Martin's book that we did. We don't get any money from it or anything. It's for, I say, brown children that get killed by officers and they can't get buried, and that's the money goes to it. So if you buy the book, the money goes right to them. Or if you want to donate more money, you go right to the Tracy Martin Foundation, and they give the money to the people that can't bear their children.
So on top of drawing and creating the art and publishing, you really there's a business side to it because you have to get rights to things, and you're negotiating with people whose identities or whose legacies are locked down.
Yeah, we were fighting HBO for almost 6 months with Trayvon Martin because Jay-Z just came out of the woodworks. It was like, it matters now. And it was like, what, dude? Like, you didn't say anything in none of your raps for a long time, but suddenly when he heard the idea of we can get a teenage group of kids now sitting there saying we matter, he jumped on it. Like, oh yes. So
you took down Jay-Z.
Yeah, Tracy Martin's wife. Oh my God! If she didn't stand by us, we were in trouble. Because my first script didn't go through. I was so shook. Like, I still got goosebumps now. It was just the son was like, yeah, like,
real.
and he was like, do it again. I don't want my son. I don't want Zimmerman in the book, so I had to turn him into an alien. So, and he was like, I'll give you rights, and he gave us pictures. So it was just rough, like, for me to make a comic book and write it the way I did, and I had to go through like 3 editors.
That had to be a crazy, intimidating process.
Yes, because my son looks just like him, you know, and it's like, I'm doing this, and then he was like, don't you got other projects? I was like, I'm doing this for free because I just want kids to read. If a kid can read this, it's 11th grade reading level. I see kids that's 7 years old reading this.
Yeah.
So I got them, and they get the message after that.
Yeah.
You know, and it has their superhero from Delaware. He's in here.
Yeah.
And I put a Delaware thing in here before where a cop shot a person in a wheelchair in Delaware. So I changed it up and put it like he was deaf. And then I found out there was a kid that was deaf that got shot by an officer. So I put that in the book. And I made a superhero out of it. And what would you do if you stopped it? What if the hero didn't go and burned down the neighborhood? And the kids agreed with it, and they backed the heroes and the cops up. And Michael John White was like, you got to talk to Tracy Martin. That's how we got the hook up, you know.
So you're creating alternate endings, alternate storylines to give people some hope. And you also, in the green room, were talking about wanting to see people and young people in particular own things, own a business,
ownership,
have something that it's their stamp and their legacy.
Prince was kicking it to us before he died. He told all of us, go on Google and own your name. I own my own name. Seriously, people, I went on Google. I own my name. I got my social. I had to buy my name.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to go, like, you can go to Rome, you can go to Italy, you can go to Britain. You guys don't need certain IDs. If I go to Africa, I need a whole bunch of IDs even to get back that you guys would never ever need. So even when I wanted to teach in Africa, in Nairobi, there was a whole bunch of things I had to go through, and I was like, I don't know now. You got to get this type of passport. And this, I was like, but if I went to Britain or Canada, I won't need all this. Oh, you're going to need this to get through here. Then next thing you know, a couple months later, Mos Def is stuck there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Because he had a message.
Yeah.
He wanted to give messages out there, and he went to Oprah Winfrey School, and actually, no, you're not coming back here.
So are you saying that owning your name on Google is sort of another level of identity when you come up against an obstacle?
Yes, for copyright stuff. So I tell all the
Crazy
kids.
facts you learn on In the Mix.
Yeah, I tell especially the young ladies.
Yeah.
That's one thing I tell all the young ladies. I've been telling them, I teach them art and stuff, and a lot of them moved on, went to college, but I always tell them, own your own name. You want to sign the checks. Make the men work for you.
There you go. You heard it here first. So we need to run to a quick commercial break, but Underground Comic Con, can you give us the dates for this year?
November 1st, 2019. It's the 7th one, the longest running one. I don't run it no more. My friend Heather runs it, but it's even bigger because now she brings Marvel and DC, people to do like video games like Fallout. The artist comes there. Like, we have that type of stuff coming this year. And one of them worked on, Laura Croft, the character designs for that, for the first PlayStation original. They're coming.
I might have to bust out my old costume.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you, that's what you were rocking.
November 1st where?
November 1st is on the Riverfront.
Delaware Contemporary, right?
Yeah, it has comic artists, writers, vendors, toys, everything.
Great.
It's a family event, everything.
And it really has been amazing to watch it grow throughout the years. I remember that first one. It was a labor of love.
I was
But
terrified. I hit so bad.
but you rocked it so hard, and year after year, it's just gotten bigger and better. And I'm assuming your audience reach has grown, but the diversity of artists and how far away you're pulling them in. I mean, it gets better and better every year. It's fantastic.
I appreciate Delaware for that.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be back more with what's going on in Wilmington right after this.
That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Welcome back to In the Mix, brought to you by DETV. We're here at the studios on Lancaster Avenue, and we have a bunch of guests today. We're talking about October activities. I know I've got an exciting week next week because Crowbar in Trolley Square is opening up, so I can't wait for that. I love it. I love a restaurant opening.
Cool.
So
Who doesn't?
yeah, so we've got lots of guests here today.
We have a lot of restaurants actually that I don't even think we've talked about on the show yet that have popped up or that are popping up right now. Torbert Social is brand new, right behind Mickey Moto's. Maker's Alley, not open yet, but very, very soon Orange?
Shipley?
Shipley.
Between Shipley and Orange.
Right behind Chelsea Tavern. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting
You
something.
got Bar Roja and Trolley Square.
Bar Roja, which is so good. Their tacos are amazing. I love that place. And the
What about that brewery
margaritas.
on North Side?
So good.
Wilmington
Oh,
Brew
Wilmington
Works?
Brew Works?
Yeah.
The pizza place in
Yeah,
there. I
we
hear
There
it's
is a
phenomenal.
pizza place there.
Yeah,
It's the
that
same
food-
people that have the, excuse me, Jabaar. Go ahead, what were you
Yeah,
saying?
the food, the pizza's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why the beer was good, but the
Pizza.
Isn't the,
They
it's the
pair 'em
Cafe
together.
Riviera
Cafe-
guys?
Oh,
Yep.
that's who it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great pizza.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Concord Mall.
Yep.
And are they doing, is it wood-fired pizza in there?
You know, I don't know.
I feel like wood-fire always makes the
Yeah.
difference.
Just say it.
Nice burnt edge, perfectly burnt edges around.
powder on your fingers and everything.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Can you tell I love pizza? Love pizza. Sarah.
Well, I was going to say, so V-Trap, right?
V-Trap.
Opened not too long ago. I don't know if it was mentioned, in a previous episode or whatnot, but they're a vegan restaurant on Lincoln Street over on the west side. And a lot of the work that we do with WestSide Grows Together is about promoting our small businesses, really celebrating all the development and new activity happening downtown. But, we're also really trying to attract new businesses and customers over to the west side. So think Union Street, Lincoln, 4th Street. There's some excellent restaurants along 4th Street. So one thing that's coming up that we have very soon, October 6th through 12th, V-Trap, and the owner, Kristen, was instrumental in getting this started. She is launching a West Side Vegan Week. So I personally am not vegan. I love to limit my meat at times. And I don't know that we want to go down a whole rabbit hole talking about that. We could. But it's actually had huge traction through our social media, WestSide Grows on Facebook. A lot of folks are interested in this. And so what is really cool, how it started, is that Mrs. Rubino's, I think maybe inspired by V-Trap opening around the corner.
Absolutely inspired.
Mrs. Rubino's been on Union Street for decades. One of our really longest lasting establishments on the west side. They initiated a vegan menu, so in addition to the regular menu, and it, like just wanted to experiment, test it out, and it has had a huge response.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of people have come asking for it specifically. What kind of burger? Okay.
My daughter loves it.
Yeah.
I've loved to see how it's taken off, and you have to give credit to Drop Squad Kitchen down on the riverfront.
Absolutely.
They were the first to really kind of put that flag in the ground. But the Delaware area has a phenomenal vegan community. They're super supportive, and when they see something pop up, they come out and
Greenbox is going to be coming soon. So I love what they're doing. So yeah, this is just a little opportunity, both to bring in new faces to some, maybe, to some establishments that have been around for a while. So we're probably going to have about 7 to 10 participating businesses on the Union Lincoln Street, 4th Street corridors. So just check us out on Facebook to find the list and the different like specials or things that they might have as part of that week. So cool. Yeah, so it's
so
coming up really
you'll have
soon.
other non-vegan restaurants that are participating to be a vegan feature that week.
Absolutely. So anyone can participate as long as they just can feature something that would be considered vegan. So it's an opportunity to help these businesses get some new customers and attract folks to the corridor, to the west side. So.
Well, it's not as easy as it's not as easy.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. We got the couch.
It's not as easy as it sounds for a regular restaurant like a Mrs. Rubino's to just do a vegan menu, because everything from the garlic bread to like how your gravy is made is, or is it sauce, or is their egg, it's not that easy to just, here's a vegan menu.
No, absolutely.
1 or 2 things maybe is a little easier to pull off, so that's really neat.
And so, in addition to that next level, right, there's actually some urban farms, and one in particular is Bright Spot Farms, that's actually based out of West End Neighborhood House, where WestSide Grows Together is also based. And we're looking to and this is the first time it's happened, so hopefully it can build and grow, but how do we build relationships with some of those local producers also to highlight some of their the things that they're growing as part of Vegan Week, or just in general, but Vegan Week is an opportunity since it's so plant-based. So look for those types of opportunities to crop up.
Farm people, they doing it around, like you see it in the neighborhoods. Like that's why I was wondering, like, are they going to the vegan things? Because you see, like, even when you go through WestSide, when I was coming up, some corners used to be a drug corner, but now you see people growing stuff. Like, I remember, you know what I mean? I remember being on my chest on certain corners and be like, then you see people, you see my milk, they're growing real good. You're like, man, this wasn't the same corner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm 47 now, but I just remember it'll be something looking like The Wire. But now you see them out there, and you have the grandkids out there, and then they're out there with the vegetables, picking stuff.
Richard Rawl and his wife Shal do a lot to promote,
I love what he does.
Vegan
I
lifestyle,
love what he
absolutely.
does. The pizzas and stuff he be coming up with, like the broccoli and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Start drooling as soon as
Well,
he
you gonna
posts
try
a
to eat this
picture.
one day? I'm like, no man.
I didn't even have lunch, so I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
We might need to steer this conversation in another direction. Unfortunately, we're going to keep talking about food because you have a really cool dining event coming up.
Yeah, there's so many things coming up, and then I'm going to totally take some time later to talk about a different event that's not as well. Let's see, which one do we go to next? Actually, so I'll actually bring us back to United Neighbors.
Okay.
So there's an event coming up, United Neighbors, because it's soon. So as soon as I leave here, I got to get back into working with a lot of partners and community members to make this happen, because that's the only way we get anything done with WestSide Grows Together. But there's an event called United Neighbors, and actually it came out, so I'm going to pivot to transportation for 1 second and bring it back to food. But the inspiration for this event actually came out of a lot of conversations around 95 and the upcoming renovations that are happening to 95. And it got a lot of the community members that I work with over on the west side talking. People were talking about it on Facebook, but also in person. And we started to meet about it. How do we make sure that when DelDOT comes through and to renovate the highway, which is needed, that they leave our communities better than when they start? How do we start to think about connecting our communities? And so this event has kind of taken fruition out of that. So there's actually 3 goals to this event. One is around connecting our communities across the highway, 95, which has, the second goal is looking at the history of 95 and how it did divide us, kind of recognizing that history. And then the third piece is around a vision for the future. So if you look at, if you're familiar with the bridges that go across the highway in the city, right? At some point, the highway is actually down below and the bridges go across the top. And then down by 4th Street, the highway becomes elevated. So when we look at those spaces, how is the community, utilizing them? How could they be improved? So this event is going to be a 3-day event, and it's going to be on 7th Street. So if you're, I nerd out about like transportation and things like that. But if you're familiar, again, 10th, there's a lot of bridges. It's like 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th. There's a few. And so we're closing down 7th Street Bridge for 3 days, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. The first day will be actually a community art project. And so, we've been chatting. It's like we want everyone involved. So get your brains going. We could talk about it, but I would love, as much involvement. We got a lot of local artists. Terrence Van, Kiana Mosey, Vibe Pro is their new organization. They have helped facilitate this community mural. And it's going to be on either side of the bridge on the inside. Big Words United will be part of the mural, and we want folks to help paint it. So that's Thursday, the 10th. Friday the 11th, and I know I'm talking a lot, but Friday the 11th is where we get food back into it. We're going to highlight some local entrepreneurs, some food entrepreneurs. Actually, V-Trap from the WestSide will most likely be participating with a vegan dish, but we'll have a free community meal that day, which is Friday the 10th from 3 to 6. And we'll have, like I said, a couple different food options. And then the third day is Saturday, October 12th, if I'm getting the dates right, 10th, 11th, 12th, is more of your traditional kind of block party on the bridge. Live music, some salsa performers, youth open mic portion of this event. And then just to kind of paint the vision for folks, like we're taking this bridge, we're going to put down some of that fake grass. We're going to try to work with NextFab in the next 2 weeks to get a few more of the kind of tabletops and benches. We're going to get some greenery donated, and then that mural piece. So it's really about, how can we think about these spaces beyond these 3 days, and what pieces could we potentially encourage the city or state to adopt kind of more permanently. So that's the whole thing. United Neighbors. We've been meeting with local folks and going door to door, making sure that people who live in those communities on either side of the highway are a huge part. They've been a huge motivation, the foundation of this event. So I would love for you all to, come out.
So question for you, is this kind of a test to see the possibility of making 7th Street a non-car bridge, making it walker, biker, pedestrian friendly kind of thing?
So one thing, playing to my nerdy planning, like what I love thinking about, the city is actually going to, and DelDOT, look at the flow of traffic, before this event and then during, and see how closing down that bridge does impact the traffic flow. And for anyone who is concerned who lives over there, I live on 7th Street, so it's very close to me. But it's actually, there's 2 streets that go the same direction. They both go east, I believe, 7th and 6th. 7th and 6th both go east. And so because we're closing down 7th, you still have this option to kind of still get around pretty easily, so we won't be affecting too much traffic flow. But I think you're on to something. I think that's a consideration. People talk about this concept of a land bridge that kind of came out of Mayor Baker's administration, maybe
I remember it.
Even before. Yeah. So that would be a huge investment. Like if you imagine building, between the 2 bridges, like an actual huge park. I mean, that's a whole nother, huge investment, but I think this is planting the seed for those types of conversations. So.
And letting people see the vision of what that would actually look like. All right, well, can you believe it? Our news anchor called out again, but I know one of these lovely guests here is going to do a great job filling in. Who will it be? We will be right back with our In the News segment after this short commercial break.
All right, Tony Cappella here, bringing you the news from Delaware. Kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know that or not.
Okay.
Anyway.
Whatever you say, Tony.
I have leather-bound books. Opera Delaware invites you to a special performance at the Opera Studios on October 11th. Yes, I am reading this. 13th. October 11th and 13th with a unique concept, Opera Jukebox, led by OD's head of music staff, I am not going to try to pronounce this name because I will destroy it. Anyway,
Well
we'll
done.
feature performances of some of opera's greatest hits, including a few of your very own aria requests. That's right, folks.
Sing for us, please.
A special Halloween-focused oddball art hall invades Oddity Bar on Friday, October 18th. Pursue a collection of works and wares from chilling local artists with live models, not dead ones, music, and more. That's at Oddity.
Come on, Tony,
October
get
18th.
excited.
Okay.
This is exciting stuff.
All right, I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Andrea Gonzalez Caballero with special guest Peter Delaplane opens Wilmington's Classical Guitar Society's new season on Saturday, October 19th. Caballero is an incredibly talented Spanish guitarist known for her confident yet sensitive and expressive performances. Expect works by Claret, Rodrigo, Britton, and Albanese. Okay.
You're killing it.
I'm killing it. Here we go. Ray Jones, Avery, and Adiago. Man, this is a lot harder.
I know. We kind of.
Peter
we're
Jennings,
jerks.
I'm not.
We make it hard on you.
Featuring musical director Dennis Fortune will delight your senses with jazz music from Ray's sophomore release Between at the Delaware Art Museum on Thursday, October 24th. How you doing? Let's go into the good Halloween stuff. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here we
we're
go.
ready.
Spooky.
Oddity Bar hosts a punk night on Friday, October 25th with killer costume contest. Imagine that, Oddity and a punk night. Yes, that's correct. Ghost Tales and Spirits invade Winterthur.
Winterton.
Pardon me. Let me say that like this.
There you go. Get that.
Saturday,
pinky up,
October
sir.
26th. Take a chilling tram ride through the grounds after nightfall and hear scary stories about the estate that will give you goosebumps. You will see video of Donald Trump making out with Hillary Clinton, and that should scare the life out of anybody. You'll have a perfectly spooky time in the dark with terrifying trivia, tarot cards, and spirits to drink. Sunday, October 27th, AIDS Delaware annual fundraiser Halloween Bingo returns to Chambers. Memorial Hall, Queen Karen Thomas and a surprise guest will regale us with their wit, comedy, and charm. Big prizes for best costume.
I like bingo.
Monday, October 28th, Belfont Brewing Company's horror movie Quizzo. Thank you. Delves into your favorite slasher classics. That's right, I went to Catholic school. This is what happens. All right, I already did that one. And jumping into November, the 6th annual Halloween extravaganza invades Oddity Bar Saturday, November 1st, featuring local acts dressed up and performing as their favorite bands. Of course, that's just a small taste. For more of these events, check out inwilmingtondelaware.com and wilmingtonde.com. For In the Mix, I'm Tony Cappella, signing off. Good to see you.
Yes.
Well done, Tony.
Now you know what's going on this month in Wilmington, thanks to Tony Cappella and that wonderful In the News update. Tony, thank you very much for rolling with the
We are so
punches.
impressed.
We really need to fire that news anchor that never shows up. It's terrible. So you may have noticed we are missing someone right now. My co-host had to sneak out one of the many, many hats that she wears. She is also a blogger for In Wilmington. She does a phenomenal job. Go to inwilmde.com/blog. You can check out all of the posts she does. She's actually on her her way to First State Ballet right now to interview Victor Plotnikov. He is the choreographer behind their world premiere Dracula. That's going to be October 18th through the 20th at the Baby Grand. First State Ballet they do some really cool performances throughout the year, but their October performance is always something a little bit edgier. And really, really excited for Dracula. But anyway, I just want to make sure I got that plug in so y'all knew why she was gone, and you could plug a fantastic event. Yeah. Gentlemen, down on the end. You know what? I'm going to give you a break, Tony. We're going to go to Jerry for a minute. Jerry, you're here. Well, you're always involved in a million things year-round, so I'm sure you could talk to us about a whole lot right now. But what would you prefer to put in the spotlight?
Well, what I want to talk about is what I think could be one of the biggest parties in downtown in decades, and it's the 40th anniversary of the Halloween Loop. And it's we're stepping aside from the normal model, which is a bar crawl that has become renowned and infamous and famous and all that stuff. This year we are teaming up with the Queen and a group of musicians who kind of helped develop Wilmington's music history. Tony being one of them, with one of the bands appearing, and we're doing a costume ball at the Queen on October 26th. And all the proceeds will be devoted or donated to the Light Up the Queen Foundation. So awesome. This is very cool. My introduction to Wilmington, 1979. Never been here. Somebody invited me. I was fresh from being back from New York, and I got invited to go to a costume party in Wilmington. And it was the Halloween Loop. And we arrived, and I thought I was on Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
What was your costume?
My costume was, I was dressed as a woman.
We want proof, please.
And, and I wrote about this in the upcoming issue of Out and About magazine, but it left it was just a phenomenal night. It left a tremendous impression. But what it really did too was for people that don't have the history back to the 70s, I mean, downtown Wilmington was a different place. And, the loops are 40 years old, but there were no loop buses back then. Everything was downtown. Everything was walking distance from Market Street, Orange Street. And so there was a restaurant or eatery on basically every 30, 40 paces. And the Market Street Mall was alive with people in costume, and people brought their kids out and they just watched the show. It was wholesome, it was ornery, and it was just a unique thing to Wilmington. So for us to be able to, after all these years, to come back and bring it back to Market Street, because the loop through the years expanded to the riverfront, expanded to Trolley, to bring it back to Market, partner with the Queen, partner with some musicians who kind of helped make this town what it was, and have all the proceeds benefit really inspiring kids through art. It's just a perfect marriage. We're excited about it.
What better way to toast 40 years? Exactly. That's incredible.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit more about what they can expect at the party. I'm assuming you're doing costume contests. We're doing a
costume contest, $500 cash prize, and 2 tickets to shine a light for the winner. Some of the folks who have made a reputation appearing in previous loops will be there, I'm sure, competing for that prize. We have bringing 4 bands back, and I want Tony to talk about that because these are bands that kind of a lot of people grew up with, and they've never shared the stage together. So they will all be appearing at the Queen that night during the Halloween Ball. And Tony, why don't you talk about some of the acts?
Well, sure. First, I'd like to say that Jerry still dresses like a woman from time to time.
I do. My mascara never runs.
Anyway, we've got 2 bands that have been around Wilmington for many years. Montana Wild Axe, which is a band I've been with for 31 years. And The Snap, who's been around just as long. And then 2 bands are doing reunions that night, the Caulfields and the Numbers. And these bands were kind of instrumental way back in the day. And it's just going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it will benefit the Light Up the Queen Foundation. If you folks don't know about the Light Up the Queen Foundation, we collect money. We have one huge fundraiser every year now, where it's evolved to having 2, and this will be the second one.
The first one is Shine a Light, and that started 8 years ago, and by a guy named Rob Grant, Ben Leroy, and Chip Porter put their ideas together, and this has grown. We've raised thousands of dollars for arts in the community, thousands. So.
And to call it a massive collaboration would still somehow be an understatement for the number of musicians that you get involved in this project every year.
Last year was my first year running it, and we had 67 musicians.
Oof. Wow.
About 8 weeks of rehearsal every Sunday. You belong to me from the Sunday after New Year's until the show. And Joe Traynor is the musical director along with Nick Bucci. Actually, I play with Joe Traynor in the rock orchestra as well. And so Joe and I know each other fairly well, and the collaboration last year, we won the best fundraiser in the Delaware, Best of Delaware, is the best party in Wilmington. And there's a lot of parties that go on, so I was really proud of that, man. I'll tell you, that was a great thing to see. And it's, like I said, last year it was 67 musicians. This year it's probably going to be a little bit more because we're trying to bring some younger folks in. I'm trying to get recipients of the program involved. Last year we had a gal that, I wish I could remember her name, it's terrible I don't, but she was a trombone player who was a recipient of the Light Up the Queen Foundation. And she played trombone in the show, and she's amazing.
That's awesome.
And she plays in the band at Camden Yards down in Baltimore. So,
Wow.
and there's a lot of recipients
That's a good
like
feeling,
that.
to see somebody
Oh,
that you work with,
yeah.
and you see them like grow. You see the growth of it.
Yeah,
You know
she
what I
was
mean?
like 12
That's-
when she
that's-
started, and now it's
Yeah,
you know,
when you see them like
she's-
they're 18 or 19, they're doing their thing, and you like they come
Yeah.
back or something. It's like,
and she's great.
Yeah.
She's a killer player. So. And it sells out every year. So this Halloween loop thing, the collaboration with Jerry and us, or Out and About and us, just I think is a fantastic idea and a great way to reinvent something in Wilmington that's like
Missing.
Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
Make it something totally
But it's more
different.
refined. I think it's going to be more enjoyable. I think it'll be a little bit more self-contained without, walking into a place and being like this. It's a bigger venue. I think it's gonna work out great.
And it's inside, right? It's not out.
It's inside.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
inside,
Yep.
and
Hey, makes it
Will the
better.
balcony be open?
Yep.
the balcony will be
Yeah.
open. And the cool thing about this is we've had some people reach out to us that kind of remember doing the loop when the loop was just first around and they were in their 20s, and now they're in their late 50s, and so they get to go dig up some old costume and
Yeah.
kind of relive it. And we've been doing it through social media. We're doing it in the magazine, the Queen Foundation putting stuff out, but we're digging up a lot of old pictures and we're floating them around in social media, and it's a lot of fun. People are seeing
Like, what they dress
seeing
like.
what they look like with a couple drinks in them, and
Lots of
in costume
cringing.
35 years ago. So
Did I
it's
really do that?
it's very entertaining. Very entertaining.
I got kids now.
This will be fun. I can't wait to do it. I was so happy when Jerry approached, actually Jim Miller, who works at Out and About, approached me and he said, "Hey, I have this idea," and I'm like, "I'm in, man. Let's do it."
It was perfect.
Because we're all so community-based anymore, and this day and age, there's not a whole lot of volunteerism that you get out of community. So for people to get involved in places like Chase and all these breweries and all the great things that go on in Wilmington, for them to all come together and get involved in this.
They do a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing a thing today. We're throwing a birthday bash for the kids for the birthdays this month, and they're getting us DJs. They're buying us food and everything. Was it Caribbean place? They're buying the food from there, but they're doing it all local. Everything local.
All day.
Awesome.
Very
yeah,
cool.
we're going to do a thing just for the Boys and Girls Club, and I guess because to me, it's needed, because a lot of times they get looked over. A lot of times,
Yeah.
like even when I was at Brown's for a while, like certain people wouldn't even go there for meetings. You're like, what? You know what I mean? And it's not even cool because everybody's a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Before anything else, you're a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's humanity comes first. The kids come there. Then whatever you believe, that's on you.
And it's cool. There's kind of a theme with the United Neighbors, and then this collaboration.
Well, the other thing that's important to remember, and we've been around long enough with the magazine that we've been writing about this for 3 decades, is that the music community in our city is unbelievably generous. And Tony's right there at the front, but there are Shine a Light was the efforts of just all the musical community coming together, donating their time for a good cause. Back at it again with this event. They do it, 365 bands, and it's just, it isn't mentioned enough. But our artistic, creative community is very, very giving, and it creates life.
That's what drew me downtown, and that's why I stayed.
It's amazing to walk around Wilmington now on a Friday or Saturday night and see, walk into Stitch House, you can hear a band. You go into a place like Rockford Tavern, who reinvented itself, put in a great stage. I mean, Paul Ogden has been in the bar business in Wilmington for years. He knows how to do it right. And this place is awesome. I love playing there. I love seeing people walk there. Yeah. The Logan House, all these great places, the Queen, the Grand.
Music pocket, popping up at Deco now, places that you would never really even think
which
about.
I played, which was really cool. We did the grand opening, which was really kind of cool. So anyway, there's just so many great, talented people in this town. And it's great that we all come together for one. I mean, let's face it, somehow I ended up with the gift of being able to play music, and people still come out to see this old goat up on stage playing.
You're doing something right.
And I gotta give back, man. You gotta give back to it, I mean, it's fun to give back. Why not?
And I think it's awesome too because it's with musicians and then also the artists, like more broadly. And I think about 7th Street and where we're going to be closing down the bridge, and there's going to be this new mural that comes up, and as many people as we want as possible to help paint the mural. Yeah. But I live on 7th Street. I know 3 artists. Geraldo, who goes to Creative Vision Factory and is like this amazing artist. Ellen Priest is on that corner. I mean, so there's just there's just a lot that's connecting us across the whole city, and
that's a great part because
we want to highlight it. Yeah.
For when I was younger, that was my hustling block, and to see that change. To see somebody actually care about, because for a long time, nobody would care about that block. All the way up from Market Street Mall, all the way on top of that hill, right where the church is, then the Red Line district starts, where they don't care anymore. And you were like stuck. I didn't understand it at first, but like that's what made me even start drawing even more. Because I stopped drawing for a long time. I was so depressed. But when I started picking up the pencil and out hustle and I'll draw something, the cop will come by and be like, what do you guys got in the soda cans or things like that. I have art, and the kids are reading. I have a drug dealer reading. He didn't even go to school, but I got him reading. So they would just get tired of me. But then they'd be like, why you always buy this bridge now? And then it was by the Porter Center all the way down to that bridge. They will follow me. They'll go around the block. What do you got? What do you got in your hand? And they would just get so tired of me having a pencil and paper and just getting the drug dealers' children to come over to another corner and draw with them.
That's so cool.
And I think that's why I give a lot of props to Mike Cowback and my mom, just sitting there telling me all the time, like, just be unique,
And the power of the arts in general. I mean, I wish I could play music but I love supporting this great.
That's why we support, because we can't create.
That's what I like. That's why I love what he said. Just to be older and still give back. Like, I sometimes I tell my wife I come home so depressed, and then she'd be like, well, you ready to go to work. By the time I go to work, it's Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown. Draw this. It's like, Jesus. You know what I mean? That's what it's for, though. I mean, that's what I give you that gift for.
I have to defend my hometown here for a quick minute, because there's been so much negativity. But Wilmington really is an outstanding city to be in. It's great.
It's changing.
You could shop anywhere without having to pay a tax. Right. You really can walk down the streets and nobody will bother you.
Absolutely.
I do it all the time.
Absolutely.
So whatever negativity you hear about this town, I don't know how many people are going to be watching this, but it's all fiction for the most part. I mean,
Well,
it's
the struggles that we face come with any city, any city
that's
area,
right.
You know,
Right.
we're no
Yep.
different than any
Yeah.
other thriving
Yeah.
city.
We all have tales.
Well,
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
sometimes the darkest tales become success. Like I didn't understand it until
Right.
Michael John White was explaining to me. He was like, to be homeless, to be a drug dealer, to move to California, to come back to be homeless, and now you're pitching a movie
Right.
for me
Yeah.
to Netflix. He was like, that's incredible.
That's
You
a movie in itself.
Yeah, he was like, why don't you ever write this? And then
And now we're going to bring you back on for another show where we can focus just on this kind of thing because it's an amazing story and you have so many more layers than I even realized, and I knew a lot of them. So. Congratulations for all you're doing and where you're at right
I'm
now,
just
and
trying,
thank you.
You know, what I mean?
Thank you for that
Keep
work.
a couple of them off the
good
street.
stuff.
We are out of time, sadly. It always goes like that. There's a whole bunch of events that I did not get to today that I wanted to talk about, but I won't do them. You know, I'm just going to skip them rather than not serving them the way that I really should be. You can pick up the latest copy of our calendar all over town, or you can check out inwilmde.com if you want to learn more. Anything real quick before we go, guys? No? All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed your time. We'll see you on the next episode of In the Mix.